Hey everyone, welcome to the Dram Amateur Podcast, your go-to show for everything bourbon, whiskey, rum, tequila, mezcal, and beyond. I'm your host, Jason. Join me as I journey and explore the world of alcoholic spirits. Let's get started. All right, welcome back to the Dram Amateur Podcast, the show where we explore the stories, spirits, and sips that make the world of whiskey, bourbon, rum, tequila, and mezcal so exciting. I'm your host, Jason, and I'm thrilled to have you here for another pour of a great conversation. Before we dive in, don't forget to connect with me on Instagram, X, and Threads at Dram_amateur and Facebook under the Dram Amateur Podcast to stay in the loop with exclusive content and updates. Whether you're a seasoned enthusiast or just starting your journey into the world of fine spirits, this is your spot to sip, learn, and share. So pour yourself something good, get comfortable, and let's kick off another unforgettable episode of the Dram Amateur Podcast. And with that, I would like to welcome you all back to episode 2 of my conversation with Mike. He is the host behind the Whiskey Morgue podcast, and you can find him on Instagram at Whiskey Morgue. Mike's been a great guy, big supporter of the channel, great person to connect with, and this episode was super cool to be able to sit down with him and dig a little bit more into who he is and his passion behind his Instagram page and behind his podcast. So let's jump into episode 2. Let's go. All right, so let me ask another question here. If you could take one whiskey with you to the afterlife, but it can't be your favorite, what are you sneaking past the gatekeeper and why?
Ooh, okay. It can't be my favorite. What am I going with here? I feel like I talked about this, not like that I was pondering the afterlife.
Shit, somebody asked you this question already?
No. I was thinking about you always think about like favorite bottles or like the one bottle you could have forever, kind of like in that breath, and kind of like, which one did you bring? And like, I think like the one that I have to cross off is like the Weller Antique, because like I said, it's something that I've had forever. It's my go-to when I don't want to think. That's like my daily sipper. It's quality. Like, it's a great one. In terms of like what I would bring with me, you know what? I'd bring E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof.
I've only had it one time.
And I will say that like it's phenomenal.
Is it?
I got a bottle, and I'll shout out Whiskey Mirage on here. I don't know if you follow him, but a great friend of mine, Josh. And the backstory to it is like very thoughtful friend. We've been friends for years. But like I went to a bar in Buffalo before a concert, and it's like a cold winter's night. I can paint a scene for you, but we went to this bar.
Fucking cold in Buffalo.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, there's no fucking romanticism here. It's like so it's Buffalo. So I was in Buffalo, and I went to this this bar. It's called Lucky Day. Really cool whiskey bar. But I didn't expect to see that many great pours on the shelf and at a decent price. Like I think at the time, this is maybe 3 years ago, it was like $20 for an ounce. And I was like, well, shit, like I can't find this anywhere if I get to pay $20 and try it out. And it was a really nice date night. We're like a year past having my daughter. We're kind of like, in your marriage, I mean, you've been there, you said you have kids at home. Like, me and my wife went out to go to Buffalo to have dinner and like have a drink and then go to the show. And so that paired with the whiskey being so good, just stuck with me. And, my friend Josh there was like, hey, like he played it up like he wanted to see pictures of the bar that time, and was like, do you have pictures of like which batch you got from the bar? And I took pictures, and sure enough, like on my birthday last year, he gets me a bottle
that's cool.
of it, and it's the same batch. It's the same. Like, I think it was batch 11. Like super thoughtful. So I mean, it's phenomenal. And like the other night, I actually pulled it out for the first time in a while. And I had a good friend over I hadn't seen in forever, so I tried to pull out some of like Four Roses limited edition 2024, and I'd always kind of savored it on its own, and it was sentimental. But having that in a lineup of other like banger bottles, I was like, damn, this really is. And again, I talked about like my like dream profile, where like it's that particular batch is like 65 point something, but it doesn't taste like it. It's like sweet. There's like a bit of like spice and punch, but just like I love when like a high proof can mask that, and I feel like something really good is going on when a whiskey can do that. So yeah, that'd be the one that I'd take with me, both for quality and sentimental reasons.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I've tried it once, and I have no idea what the hell batch it was. It's forever ago. My buddy had a bottle of it, and it's not something I see very often, either on shelves in stores around where I travel and in like the Southeast, or in bars. I try to go to nicer areas and nicer restaurants around here to have some dinner and drinks.
See, the problem is that you're not going to Buffalo. Because in all honesty, Buffalo has a ton of once I started learning, because as a city and the economy, like they've been rebuilding and like things have gotten better and there's more investment into like infrastructure and business there. But like being close to the border, it was the same thing with Detroit. People are like, why do you love going to Buffalo and Detroit? And like people joke about because of like Detroit claiming bankruptcy years ago. And I'm like, yo, things have changed. And if you go into these whiskey bars, they know they can't charge $100 a pour. So I'm in there, like there was like one place, unfortunately it closed down, or I think like they're going to switch ownership, but it was like called Touton in Buffalo, and it's like Southern barbecue. And I'm on there, I think it was like the Pappy 15 was like $30.
Wow.
To try. And like, again, this was like 2021, I'd say, 2020, but like, yeah, unheard of. So I think like you got to find like these like divier places or like less popular, and maybe that's where you'll find some gems.
No, that whole upstate New York area, I have friends that live in Syracuse, so I'm up there. I wouldn't say quite a bit, but every couple of years I'm up there for sure. And been to Buffalo for we went for a Niners Bills game. I'm a Niners fan. Friends are Bills fans, obviously upstate New York, so we went to a couple games there. I hadn't got the chance to go to a bar downtown. Definitely will have to look for that next time I go. But Syracuse, a lot of same thing, right? Like that's where I got introduced to tequila, was in Syracuse, right? So, and they have a fantastic selection at that restaurant in Syracuse. So yeah, same experiences, and I agree with you. But there's something, I will say this. It's just that New England area for sure. So I grew up in Massachusetts, and there's just something about that area where you find those dive bars with those bottles that are just hanging out for a price that you're not going to pay $70 for an ounce, right? Yeah. There's just something about that area that has that in it. That I think I appreciate with it. And I think that's why, I'm not saying that's why you got lucky, but definitely you couldn't go finding a E.H. Taylor or a Pappy down here for $30 a pour.
Yeah, and I like, so they have a live, like Lucky Day has a live PDF. So I have the menu in my Google Drive, which is cool. And like they change it up and do flights and everything. And even with like things increasing in price and whatnot, I'd still say like some like limited edition pours, if you're going into BTAC, like you'll top out at like 50, but probably not even then. It's still like 30. Like I think they had like Handy at like 25.
Oh, that's
bucks.
not bad.
Yeah, like it's still really modest and fair in terms of pricing.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I just got done paying in Chattanooga. I paid. It was we're sitting there and like, oh, is that Jack Daniel's 14? I'm like, well, I'm never gonna find this, so I might as well try it. I'm like, how much is it? She's like, oh, it's 40 an ounce. I'm like, sweet, 45 an ounce. 45. Yeah. I'm like, sweet, pour it up. I don't give a shit. I'm like, I'll probably never try it again.
But the cool thing is that like if you do get it later on, like there's like your like E.H. Taylor barrel proof story, right? It's like you know, like you got to experience it. It was fun, like, you know, and maybe it felt even more special because like you're out, you're having a good time, and then, you know, not that like you know, again, like I was spoiled by my friend there, Josh, but like, you know, but these things do happen where all of a sudden someone's like, hey, like I'm able to get another one, I'll help you out. And maybe you end up with a 14. I'm just trying to manifest a lot of things during this conversation. So watch next week, you're gonna be like, Mike, I got a Jack 14.
Well, it's funny. It happened with 12. So Jack 12. So I remember when it was out, I wrote it off. Like, never going to freaking find one. I will be, and I'm the guy that was like, I'm not paying fucking $250 for this. Hell no. Do you know how many pours I had at bars over a course of a 4 or 5 months period? And you know how much money I spent on pours of that shit at bars? Dude, I just one night they had it at a restaurant in town here. by me, and the guy was pouring without a jigger. So he was literally just putting a glass down, pouring. I took a picture of it and sent my friends, and I'm like, that's Jack 12 in my glass. He's like, holy heavy freaking
Yeah, it's a half a
hand.
glass. Just
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's $35, but he's like, you got like 3.5 ounces. Who gives a shit? Keep drinking it.
Yeah.
And then another one, and another one. And I'm like, you're driving home, honey.
Yeah.
And another one, and you're like, good.
If you want to do whiskey math, you were
$120.
paying like $10 an ounce, essentially.
Yeah, but then I've already paid for half a bottle at the secondary price at the freaking liquor stores. I'm like, who am I right now? You know. But then I find one at 95 that's retail or whatever it is. I'm like, yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, I when you were mentioning like pricing and like even hearing past conversations you've had on the podcast here, it's like it sucks that I feel like not that it sucks because maybe it'll help me be more financially responsible, but like coming from a time where like in general like whiskey was cheaper and I had more access to it. It's
magical.
Yeah, like where and like I don't know if I have the bottle behind me, but I was like when you heard of like those Knob Creek like 15 year picks, supermarket liquor and wines in Niagara Falls, New York, used to go there, pick up their picks. It's like $35-$40. So I am so like it takes so much for me to like splurge on bottles. And people always get annoyed when they're like, because I'm almost like, yeah, like, is it good? I'm like, it's good, but I don't know if it's like 200 good. Yeah. Like, and for me, I don't know if it ever will be. Like, I think I've had very few pours where I'm like, you know what? Because my approach to like buying whiskey now has been like, I buy a lot less, but I want it to be like more meaningful. I don't need another mid-tier bottle. Like I counted my bottles the other day and it's scary. I think I'm good till maybe I see the afterlife. Hopefully that's like later than sooner. But yeah, I'm like, so now I'm like, I'd rather, and this is kind of like the irony to the whole thing is that I'd almost rather save money and splurge on like one bottle that maybe I've had a sample that I like that I've had instead of buying like 10 bottles over the course of a few months. Like, cause then I'm like, yo, if I drop $300 on this bottle, but I know it's damn good and I know it's meaningful or whatever the case may be, then I'll do that more often. And I almost told myself this year, like I will purchase, I think I do like yearly goals. There's something you maybe didn't know about me, but I do like yearly goals that I try to like set some goals up for myself. And I think I said that I'm going to buy under 10 bottles in the year. And people are like, no way, no fucking chance. And I was like, well, I didn't say I'd like shift the money around of what I would have spent on if I had 30 bottles. But yeah, I just want to like take my time and get something that's like more cool or special instead of like buying something and you're like, yeah, it's another good bottle.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too in the bourbon whiskey world right now. Like I'd rather spend several $100s, I guess, on like an 80s turkey, right? Like a dusty turkey from like the early 80s than just going and buying things and so on and so forth. So I think I'm in the same kind of wheelhouse. Now, other spirits, that's a different story. Mezcal, tequila, that's like I'm now down that rabbit hole. So
yeah.
But bourbon, yeah, very much. I know. I don't want to say I know my lane because I try different things. I'm like, oh, this is really freaking good. I need to go buy a bottle of this.
Yeah.
But I really thank the community for introducing me to those different things because I'm not going and spending all of that money to do that right now.
Absolutely.
I'm sure the brands don't want to hear that. It's probably not good for the podcast, but I'm not going to bullshit anybody with it, you know?
No, but I mean, you've touched on the topic that it's just like we're in a time where there's been a little bit of a shift. Yeah. And I always say that like, the guys at like Bourbon Pursuit, I think, not that they're biased because they have their own brand now and whatnot, but I do think it's more of like correcting itself than it is because like we said, what we saw in the last few years and like with that like bubble and like COVID, like just everyone just splurging and people who are fortunate maybe who still were making money and working at home or whatever. Like I know I was there, like if you look at my collection and how it jumped exponentially in a couple years, but now it's kind of leveled out. Like, you don't have all that money to spend. So yeah. I think it has to be more thoughtful and intentional. And it comes back to, again, like kind of even whether it be like it's really good or connecting with brands. You need a little bit more there than just kind of saying, yeah, I'll take my chance on this $100 bottle just to see what it's about.
Yep, agreed. And that's why when I go out to restaurants, I purposely seek things out that I'm not going to find or see or I'm not going to try. Like, or not going to buy before I try. So like I've tried a lot of rare characters. The Brook Hills, the Elkwood Reserve's another one, like the Buff Turkey stuff that's now coming out. So it's really cool. Or going to find old Bardstown pours that like you can't even find anymore. So it's really cool to like look for those bottles. So every single time I'll look through a list, I'm looking through the shelf. I'm like, what have I never tried? What would I not believe to try that I want to try? So that's where I still enjoy going out to restaurants, going out to bars, checking different things out, sharing pours with friends too, because I think that it helps to get you still keeps you connected to everything, and it introduces you to new things, and you're like, all right, I'm going to go buy a bottle of this because this was fantastic.
Yeah, and that's like the trading samples with friends has been huge, because like I was fortunate I got like the Russell's 15 and a Russell's 12.
Oh, that's cool.
And if someone said like before trying them, they were like, oh, which one would you buy? I'd be like, well, the 15, of course. And now having both, I'm like, yo, I'd find a Russell's 12, like, even though I earlier mentioned like really liking more like age oak, kind of delving into maybe a little bit of like oak funk. But I'm like, no, like 12 just
hits,
kind of does it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens. A lot of them are like that, you know, whether we have a lot of stuff like that. Let's see. So if let's say whiskey had a personality, what kind of person would represent the whiskey that you drink most often?
Well, okay, so I've been saying Weller 107 is like the one. But like okay, this is good. So for some reason, like there's a couple bottles like with like my grandfather. It's funny, wasn't really a whiskey guy. He drank whiskey, but like there's like one Scotch and like one bourbon that I associate with him, and it's like Weller Antique, and then there's like completely different like Ardbeg Ugadal.
Yeah.
And but he was this like old school, like he almost wore a suit always, but like had this like old school kind of presence to him, like wore a suit, just like if you thought of like, you know, those like black and white movies, like that's kind of the man he was, like always had a handkerchief on hand. Like who still like had a handkerchief?
My
like
grandfather too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool,
and actually one of the things I have of his is that handkerchief. And when I think of like that bottle, it's kind of like, it's simple, but it's still like classy. And like even like the stumpier version, which I have here, I have like an old one here.
Oh, that's cool, man. I've seen pictures of them. That's pretty cool.
But it's still like, just like, I don't know, people still like, oh, like, you know, it was a screw top and it was a different thing back then. But I still do think that there's like this like level of like class, and I love the font. Yeah. And so it'd definitely be like, there's this like, my grandfather was like suave, like this like regal suave guy who's just carried himself well, and but was like an everyday guy. Like, so I think like, you know, when we talk about like everyday poor, like he would go to the grocery store and still like dressed up really nice. I don't think I ever saw him in track pants. So I think it would be something like that, something like my grandfather.
That's pretty cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah, you bring back a lot of memories. Even of my my grandparents were French Canadian descent, so I call them Meme and Pepe.
Oh wow!
Yeah, same thing from my grandfather. Always was dressed up. Always had nice shoes on. He actually sang in a barbershop quartet as well.
Oh, that's so cool.
So he used to like wear all the things, sing in the barbershop quartet. And same thing. Like I remember him going to work dressed up. He would always just dress up like to go out places. You know, those kind of things. So that's pretty unique. He used to wear these. What were the? I don't know what they're called, but they're not a tie, but it's got like the string around it.
Bolo.
Yeah, he used to wear those quite often. He had a lot of those. So
I always said I need to rock a bolo. Like in like the horror world, there's a host. He's like old school. He was on television for the longest time. Joe Bob Briggs, and he's from Texas, so he like leans into like a little bit of like the cowboy. But he always wears a bolo, and I'm just like, that's so cool. Like I have a colleague of mine who pulls it on. I'm like, I don't know if I can pull off the bolo, but I think I'm gonna buy one. Like if I keep diving into these drinks tonight, I think like my late night purchase tonight is going to be a bolo.
Send me a picture.
Yeah, I'm like, you're going to get a screenshot of like an online purchase.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so I got a couple more here for you. I want to ask a really weird one. It's not even on the list. I've just thought about it. So horror movies, man, the genre is diverse. I mean, you're talking and maybe I'm just sounding like a noob. So if I sound like one, correct me. But
yeah,
you talk about like the, I'm gonna date myself. Like you got Blair Witch, which is unique, right?
Yeah.
But you also have, what's the reality ones where they do like the haunting ones where like the people are dragged out of the bed or they're sleeping with like the camera.
Found footage, or like Paranormal Activity.
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of, right? But then you have Halloween, and you've got Friday the 13th, and you've got everything in between, right?
Yeah.
For you, is there one you don't like, or do you love them all, or like what? Like, how does that look like for your passion with all of that?
I like the simple answer is I'd say like there's a lot from every like subgenre that I really like. But I think like the one thing, if there's like one common thing that I don't like in films, and I'd say maybe usually it's attached to more like paranormal movies and whatnot, is like growing up I loved watching practical effects. The older I get, and now getting to talk to people, when you learn like about what Rick Baker was doing in American Werewolf in London and how he created a transformation scene, there's like so much like robotics and makeup and effects, and when you see that on screen it's irreplaceable. So I find that it's not necessarily a genre thing, but a lot of movies, and more commonly as like technology is advanced, is like, say I'm like really like pulled in by like there's like a haunting in a house and I'm like, ooh, like it's this spirit or this entity, and I almost rather see nothing than something if it's going to be like a CGI ghost creature character. Like the one example that I'll give you, I think that ties this in perfectly, is like, I don't know if you heard of the movie Late Night with the Devil. Mm-mm. Okay, so it's like genius idea that they play off this like, it's one take talk show that's like, I believe it was being filmed in the 70s. I could be mistaken. It could be before then, but this old talk show, it's Halloween night, and they're like this guy's trying to like, it's kind of jumping back and forth to him trying to, he has his whole things going on in his life, and he's trying to keep the show afloat, and he finds out that like things aren't going well with like ratings, and he used to be like the think of like Letterman, and all those guys. So then like there's like essentially they bring a possessed girl on the show, and he thinks it's like a gag, but he's playing into it, but then weird shit starts happening. And it was so well done because like you have this live audience and you're like, okay, like what's going on here? But the whole purpose is like kind of spoiler, but not. At the end, I'm like sold. Like this movie, I'm just like, this is the most refreshing thing I've seen. This is like a nod to the old stuff, but like it's so new and like just creative. And then the final scene, it's like this like CGI piece where like what happens to like this girl, I'm like, oh, fuck, you just lost me. Just ruined it. At the end, right? And I think, horror to me is associated with like making movie magic on screen. And don't get me wrong, like I've talked to people who are like, oh, we still use practical effects, but like the odd time when you need a small edit, you would never notice, but we used CGI or technology to fix it or like streamline something. But like for the most part, it's real things happening. And I feel like to feel what's happening on screen, I want to see something that I know is like has been created but like by hand. And so I think it's not a genre thing, but just like
it's cheating sometimes. Is that the right way to say it? It's like you're like
it's like like in like It, the recent one with Skarsgård, loved what they did with part one, but a couple moments like when his face is changing and like he's like morphing, which I know like happens in the original one, it's very clearly like CGI computerized, and then I'm like like I kind of just want to see like Skarsgård does an amazing job with like facial expressions and whatnot, but could you have just like done some other cool makeup effect and have him do his thing with being animated? But yeah, that's just like the one. So it doesn't matter what genre it is, but usually it's just, I find that it's usually like the haunting stuff, because for a while like you're kind of left in suspense for what this creature is going to be, and then when you unveil it, like it better be convincing.
Don't disappoint me, like son of a bitch, what the hell. Who's computer generated that thing? Haunting stuff, another fun question. You believe in it? Are you a believer? Where are you at with that?
I mean, I would say I believe in it. I've had weird stuff happen where just like some of it's like really subtle, but like I definitely had some experiences growing up where like very quickly, I know I always say with like time here, I'll be conscientious of it, but so I was like in a living room. I was living with my grandparents. My parents, I was younger at the time, I was a teenager, and heard footsteps coming up the stairs. But my grandfather would go down late at night and like take forever to come up. So I'm sitting in like upstairs. We had like a little like sunken living room area, and I'm watching something, and I'm like, man, like he's taking a while to get up the stairs. So in Italian, like my Italian grandfather said, I said, hey, no, are you okay? Like no response. So now I'm hearing the footsteps again. And I'm like, is this guy stuck? Like, you know, he's not in the best of health at the time. And I'm like, oh shit, like, let me go over and see what's going on. So I walk over to the steps. I'm like, no, are you okay? And I look over the banister and no one's there. Oh, and then I go into like their room is off there, and I open the room and they're like, him and my grandmother are sleeping in bed. And like my parents are sleeping in bed. And I'm like, I go back to the sunken living room, I'm like trying to rationalize it. I'm like, okay, it's my cat. Like we had a cat at the time. And I look in the corner and the cat's just sitting down, like he's not doing anything. And I was like, fuck. And then I heard the footsteps again walk up the stairs, like across the hallway. And it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm not gonna look. Like, I'm just gonna like, but then it's weird because I'd say this, like, I don't like, to be fair and like to like play devil's advocate, is like the older I get and the more tired I am. I'm in a I'm in a home now that was built in 1918.
Oh wow!
This old Victorian home that I like, very fitting. Like we have like nice pocket doors, and I'm like, if any fucking home is haunted, it'd have to be this one. Like the amount of like stories that have gone through here, like people who whether like intentionally or accidentally died, and it's just weird because I get like zero weird or bad vibes in the place, or maybe I'm fortunate, right? But I've questioned that. I'm like, is that I'm just too tired at night? Like I put my daughter to bed. I couldn't give a fuck about whether there's like a noise. I'm just like, I need to fucking go to. There's a noise, and I'm like, it's just what? Just the wind. Like fuck it. Like some spirits like, come on, wake up. Like I'm trying to fuck with you right now, and I'm like, look, I'm tired, man. Like.
We need to do a whole podcast episode on that stuff because I asked that question. I've always, I think it's a little bit of what draws me into you as well with the horror stuff. My grandfather, my Pepe, and my mom actually went to go see Ed and Lorraine Warren do a presentation in Southern Connecticut back in like the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. So they actually met them in person, saw video, heard tapes, like all that shit. And additionally, now the house I live in, we've had some pretty odd stuff happening quite often now for quite a long time. And it's not just one of us experiencing it. Wow. It's all of us. Nothing scary, just weird things like in my pantry, I keep all of my spaghetti in a certain spot and an angle that's like this way toward the wall. 2 boxes of spaghetti just ended up falling on the ground one day. I'm like, okay. I have a travel bag that I use, right? It's firmly on the counter. It's literally always on the counter from when I travel, after I'm done traveling, and it just sits there till the next travel. One night it like flew off the thing, fell on the floor, hit the door in the bedroom, and my wife was like, what the fuck was that? It's like sitting to the floor. Yeah. It's just, there's a lot of weird things that happen. And I keep telling my wife, I'm like, it's not harming us. It's just having fun. I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, listen, you're going to keep fucking with us. Can you do something while we're all wide awake and ready to see it? Because like you, I'm like, am I just fucking tired? And I'm like, shit's happening, you know?
No, but I mean, like, you know, I do think like I have this fascination with like death and like horror and stuff, but I think it's because I have like a greater fear of like what's beyond this. Like not to get too deep, but like I go back and forth to like, there's definitely something to like, damn it, like what if we just, that's it, like you close your eyes, like that's your last.
See that,
like but there's too many things where like it's like energy and like talking to like the booze, brews, and barbecue guys, like, you know, I do believe in like energy and like communication, like some of those things, like you could try to explain them, but like, you know, like if your travel bag, I'm sure has a little bit of weight to it, like the wind's not going to come through your house, or your AC is not going to turn on and like blow that off the counter. So I do think like there's like these small extensions, and like I think like even was it like the other night and again I don't know again if it's like the human factor, but I was thinking, I had this dream about like we were at like a family party and my mom was crying about like my godmother not being around to meet my my daughter, and like the next day it came to mind and I was like, oh, it's her birthday. And then I was like, well, my brain's kind of like putting it together because my godmother's birthday and she'd passed many years ago. She'd passed like at early age of 34. And so I'm like, oh, it's just my brain. Like I'm trying to rationalize it. Then like I go like turn on the car and I know like there's like a Celine Dion wedding song that was hers that like comes on. And just like, there's like too many weird things where I'm like, fuck man, like if like there's not something out there, then this is like really just like serendipitously like this good movie, like where things pan out and it just seems too poetic sometimes or like out of place. Like there's no explanation for it. But like you said, I think maybe it's less of that. It's always like, something threatening. But back to the beginning, I think it's fucking so cool that they went to these like talks and like your family was into the occult in the 80s.
It's great. I mean, my mom.
Now you have to pay for it. Now you're not.
Oh, I know. I mean, my mom's told me stories about that stuff, dude, and that's that time. Because my grandfather was actually the one who took her. Like they were both kind of into it, but he was the one that was really interested in it. I think that really surprised me about him a little bit. But they were staunch Catholics. I mean, I remember being in a Catholic church. I went to Catholic school growing up, all that stuff. So I can imagine you think exorcisms and all that stuff. They're into that stuff. But yeah, I mean, just for them, they saw him. I don't remember. It was some like Best Western Hotel in Southern Connecticut. My mom would know. I'll have to ask her. But like, it's just crazy that they had that opportunity to go see them, sit down with them. It was like an interview process with like, she said it was a small group of people. It was like maybe 100 people. It wasn't even that many people that went.
Wow.
So dude, I mean, thinking about it now and the impact that they've made on that, right? Like my mom and grandfather having that opportunity. I'm like, holy shit, dude. I don't know if I could do that. Like I believe in it too much and I respect it too much that I don't even know if I could go do that.
Yeah, to like go dabble and
no. Yeah. My daughter was even like, because we were joking about it when we were talking about it. I had another incident happen the other night. I fell asleep on the couch and it's right next to like the dining room area. And I heard like the kids walking. I thought I heard not somebody walking downstairs, but I felt like somebody was walking behind the table. We have like a table in the window, and like the chair moved. So like if you drag a chair, it kind of makes a squeaking noise, right? And I just kind of woke up, and I had heard it. It was clear as day, and I was like, okay. So I just kind of sat there, and then I heard like somebody like gently kicked it. Right. And it was so both sounds were perfectly aligned to what I know my chair sound like. I literally sat up and thought I was going to see a kid standing there. I sat up and I was like, nobody there. And I'm like, all right. I literally was like, okay, look, fucker. Like, move the fucking chair. Move the fucking chair. And my daughter's like, we just need to get a spirit. I'm like, no. I don't want anything. I don't want to fuck with it. I don't. If there is anything. Right. I'm like, I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to screw around with it. Like, I don't mind having it here. It's probably one of our old family members that's fucking around with us, and that's completely fine with me, you know? But I'm just like, I don't want to mess with that. No.
Yeah. But where I always say it's most convincing is that, like, similar to my story, is that you weren't seeking something out.
Yeah.
Like, you're sleeping on the couch, you hear a noise, and you're almost like, okay, like, what do you need? What's going on? And the same thing when I was looking for my grandfather. So I feel like that's what made it, like, more real for me or, like, believable. Yep. Because you're not there like, ooh, am I listening for sounds? Oh, that could be something. And you're like, look, I just fucking fell asleep on the couch. Like you wake up, you're like, okay, what do you need? Like from one of your kids, like what's going on? And you're looking and just there's no one there. But the chair just moved, right? Like that's where you're like, how do you explain that?
Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. All right. I got more. We can do a whole other podcast on that. All right. I got one more question. Then we're going to go into the build or break it thing. This is a fun one. So you wake up tomorrow and Instagram's gone. You got no podcast platform either. You have nothing. Just you, your camera, and a journal. What do you create first?
Man, your questions are really good. These are the best questions I've received. Damn. I would take it as an opportunity to do the content I've been holding off on. Like, I feel like I want to turn on my camera and just talk about the film that I watched. Like, I do it a bit with Rue Morgue, giving like a bit of like a background and my thoughts on the film. But I've openly relied on like my interaction. I enjoy talking to people. I thrive when I'm doing this. It's always been a lot more difficult to speak to the camera and kind of journal. You know, I watched a trailer. I'll give you a good example. The Pennywise It, like the franchise. Welcome to Derry comes out this fall. There's a TV show. And I found out, I was watching the trailer. I'm like, the house where like the family's living, where like it seems like to be the main family where Pennywise is like coming after them, is on my street.
Shut up. Are you serious?
Yeah. And I saw them filming last year, but I didn't know what it was. And they had like, it's based in the 60s. So they had the vintage cars. And it's literally like, if I walk like a minute down the street and kind of hook a left, it's right there. And
that's cool.
And I was like, but I'm not like, I know there's other people who are out there like, breaking news. Like Welcome to Derry's coming out. I watched the trailer and it's down the street from me. And I'm like, I could be making so much content with this, but it's me sitting in front of the camera and just like journaling, I guess, like some of my thoughts. And I guess maybe part of it too is like, well, what does it look like for editing, all the logistical stuff on the back side. But yeah, I think like I would take it as like, okay, like all that stuff has ended. If this is like the universe's sign for like a fresh start, I'm just going to start fucking making the things that I've been hesitant about making.
That's cool. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I that's where you lean into your creativity, right? And that's where like I see like I would struggle with that because I don't have that. This is my creativity, right? Just feeling something out and working through it. I don't. You know what? I'll take that back. Sorry, I'm rambling here.
No,
I don't know if I've ever had the quiet time to sit down and think through something like that. And like to process and go, okay, I have a camera, a journal, whatever. Like, what am I going to do with it? And just do it, right? And just be like, cool, right? Just explore it. I don't think I've ever had that quiet time to be able to do that. So I think I don't think I have an answer for you actually.
but isn't it crazy? Because I feel like in essence it should be way easier because to do this with like say each other, we plan for a month. We are like, okay, we'll meet on this time. We'll do this. We'll like, okay, you're going to prep questions. And we'll do all these things and we can jump on here. And I mean, obviously this was like a big stepping stone for us as well, like getting comfortable doing it. But I'm like, I can't, like, I could just turn on my camera right now and start talking about the movie I watched, and yet I won't do it. And, you know, maybe that's like the goals I set. Like maybe I'll just start doing more of that. But I've thought about that because I'm like, you know, part of like your following, right? I'd say is like, here's a good way to look at it is like on Instagram, I built a following over like 5 years and, you know, I've got a fair amount of followers. It's nice. I still feel like I'm like in its infancy compared to, we know all those big accounts out there.
Yeah.
But like, then you're like, well, like it's all on this one thing. Like, yeah, like what if like that collapsed tomorrow? Like, what do you have? So I do think about that sometimes and kind of like, and diversifying content and going on YouTube and putting up podcasts and stuff is humbling because I don't give a shit how many fucking followers you have. I've seen big accounts do it. They're like, hey, I'm launching a YouTube. I have 100,000 followers. And then they have 100 subscribers on YouTube. And then it kind of shows like boils it down to like different platform, different algorithm and whatnot. But it's just really telling that, like, you know, kind of maybe the whole putting your eggs in one basket. So after this, I'm going to like watch, like next week, you're going to see like I have a new video on YouTube where I'm doing a movie review. I'm going to thank you for it.
Are you doing, I haven't seen you on YouTube. Are you doing are you doing video podcasts?
Yeah.
Oh, so, good for you. I got to get to that point, man. I talk about growth, right? And getting to where you got to be. I got to get to that point.
So what tripped me up very quickly about yours was that like, I listen to everything on Spotify. That's just what I have. So I listened to your podcast and then I was like, well, I see the reels. So I was like, if I know what's out there and I know the people, I'm like, I want to watch the video content. And then when I went to yours, it was the audio and I was like, oh man, like, but he has the video. Like I saw the reels.
This shitty backdrop is why I don't post it on YouTube. Otherwise I probably would, to be honest with you.
I say you just do it either way because I think the conversation overrides the quality of what you're doing, man. Like overrides any of that.
I appreciate that. It build me up, man. I appreciate that. All right, let's do build or break. So for everybody who doesn't know build or break, I started it last week. Went pretty good. Trying something different. So what we're going to do is I'm going to name off a trend or a practice in the spirits world. I'm staying out of the horror movie genre. We touched a lot about that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit of that. And so you either tell me if you want to build on it or break on it or break it and why.
Cool.
Ready.
Let's do it.
Barrel finishing everything.
shit. I'll say break it.
Okay.
Even though like that's what I love Scotch too, and like Scotch doesn't advertise that it's all barrel finished.
Yep.
But when I think of like the bourbon scene, I feel like for a while there's a lot of different hypes. We saw Amberana, all these different things kind of like come and go. And there's some that I love, don't get me wrong, but I feel like when it's done right, it's beautiful. But more times than not, I feel like it's a little bit of a miss or masking something.
Yep, that's true. Good. I agree with you. Celebrity-owned spirit brands.
I'm going to go against the grain. I feel like a lot of people would say like break it. I'm going to say build it. Just because the two that come to mind is like Blackened. A little bit biased, but like when I think of like the like Rob Dietrich behind Blackened, like I think like Metallica putting it in his hands, like getting proper people to do it. I feel like we're seeing a movement towards invested, like truly passionate, like even like the Vampire Diaries, like we want to go into horror, we can kind of tie like Brothers Bond. They're winning all sorts of awards. I know Fred Minnick was like, I thought it'd be bullshit. He tasted their cask strength. And I know it's like MGP, but they're being particular about like age and what they're getting in certain barrels. And I just think like anyone who's come in contact with these people, they said like they're there, they're invested. Like you could tell like this is their passion project. So I'm like, why not? For many years, yes, we were used to like someone slaps their name on it. It's a cash grab. You know, you're just picking it up because it's like you're supporting the artist or whatever it might be. But I do think we are in a good place where like it's more in like a genuine investment and passion project. And if they have money and can do cool things with it, I'm like, let's see where it goes.
If they got the creativity, I agree.
Yeah.
Over the top bottle designs.
Break it. I think like we kind of moved past it. The whole taterizing the bottle. We've gone through like how many wax dips can you do? And I'm not a prude. Like I'm like, you know, when it comes to like that stuff, like I'm all for fun. Like one of my favorites ever, I think I have it here, is like so it's a Nulu. Nulu was big for it. So it's a total wine pick, but my friends like It's My Bourbon podcast, like Eric and Perry, their whole thing is snack pairings. Cool. They did like the get a Cinnabon, it's instructions. And I'm like, that's so thoughtful, like how to do the pairing. You got to grab like Cinnabon, do a pour over, and like this is kind of what you're looking for.
That's cool.
And I think like it can be fun that way. But I think for the most part, we're back at this place where I'm like, yo, just give me some really good whiskey.
Yeah.
Like I don't give a fuck what bottle it comes in. And like on that note, like speaking of these guys, I haven't tried it, but like Bourbon Deluxe supposedly has been making waves and doing well. And I'm like, simple wine bottle, nothing fancy. It's an old vintage label, and people are saying it's really good. So I think people are just looking for really good whiskey.
That's cool. No, I've seen it too, and I'm just like, oh, okay, that looks interesting. It's gonna be one of those I gotta find and try. High proof everything.
Build it, but like ish, like
Build it ish.
build it ish. I mean, like more and more, I feel like drinking high proof stuff for like many years. People talk about like a sweet spot, and I think like when you look at like some of those Russell's picks, and being in and around that proof, like it was like 110 or whatever it may be, like that seems to be a sweet spot for the most part. When it's done well, like I said, like I've had Hazmat that's like that, like the buttercream dream, but I'm like it's few and far between. Sometimes, you know, I have stuff that's like really hot, that maybe doesn't translate. It's maybe like more ethanol forward, and there's like a little bit of that, like, or maybe too much of the heat, shouldn't say a little bit. But at the same time, like I think, and it's funny how like naturally in these questions I think like bourbon, but like I do want to taste things mostly unadulterated.
Agreed.
And you know, I just think like it's been like rare, like a Michter's 10 rye, or even the bourbon is like the few bottles where I'm like, you can place it at whatever it's like 47.5% or whatever, and I'm like, that's layered, it's complex. And I can drink it at that proof, but more times than not, the lower proof, I'm always just like, I see some of the essence of what's here, but like I need to like and it's just because maybe it's us, because for years we've been drinking this, but I'm like, I want to taste it a little bit more like in its raw form, or like a little bit less unadulterated out of the barrel.
Yep. Nope. I agree with you. I'm the same way. Cocktails in a can or in a bottle?
Like either or both?
Either one. I mean, just let's just say pre-made cocktails and some pre-made things. You just go crack, pop, pour, drink.
Yeah.
You're good.
Fucking build. I did a whole room work segment on this where I did like RTDs and I did like, and it was like a summer segment, and I said I don't give a shit. Like, this is my whole angle was like, I love making a cocktail. Don't get me wrong. Like, when I want to like feel fancy, like a friend will come over. If it's like a couple people, I'm like, don't worry, sit down. I'm going to make you the best old fashioned you've ever had, because that's like everyone's story, right? And I only have like a repertoire of like 5 cocktails anyway, and the old fashioned being like the main one. Wait till you try my margarita. But then like most of the time in the summer, like we're grilling, we're by the pool, we're like swimming, and I found some really, really good ones. And I talk about like Knob Creek on the Rocks. Now I think about Horror on the Rocks and Knob Creek on the Rocks, but like Knob Creek on the Rocks, it phenomenal. Like it's in a bottle, you pour it on ice, and I don't know much more of what I want from it. And I've even found some decent canned ones. And like, of course, like, do they beat going to a bar and getting a handcrafted cocktail by a really good bartender? Never. But the reality is, we are not always doing that. Like, at best, even like if a lot of people are coming by, you're trying to batch cocktails. Yep. And that's cool too, if you want to put some effort into it. But I'm all for like, if you can make a really good RTD. Now, of course, like there's going to be, 8 shitty ones and 2 good ones maybe. Yep. But once I think you find, like, I've kind of found which ones I like, and they're good. Like, I think it's definitely passable for what I'm seeking in those moments where I'm having RTDs.
Yep, no, that's cool. Yeah, I'm an RTD fan, RTD king in the freaking summertime, dude. I'm not even ashamed about it.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's almost like, oh, well, when I did it, someone's like, how about you just make a fucking cocktail? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, I do, like, I like doing that too. But like, when I'm by the pool and I'm already kind of like half in the bag, and like, then I'm going to go grill burgers. Like, I'm not like, hold on a second, let me just like zest this orange, because like that's...
We pull out my pocket knife and my bucket of limes and my cooler and then start making a cocktail. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Whiskey as an investment, not a drink.
Break it. I can see why people
break it.
I'm like, I could see why. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I know, I'm sure like there's, you know what? I'd say this. It bothers me. But if someone's not in whiskey and they just got like tipped off that it's like this like investment thing, I can see why they do it. I don't agree, but like there's no attachment to that. But like, back full circle to why I started Whiskey Morgue was like, I'm not here to show you a picture of a bottle that looks fucking pretty. You can pull that from their website online. Like, I want to open, I want to share it, I want to make memories. Like, if you're in this space, then that doesn't fly. Like, don't tell me, like, I hate when people are like, yeah, but I also saved like 5 more that I can bunker, and, and like, at the end of the day, like, I'll give you an example, like Blue Run 14. Mm-hmm. When it came out, because of my friend who was the importer, I got a couple bottles. Tasted it, love it. I have 1 more sealed, which I plan on opening, but people were like, yeah, I saw that go for 600 US now, and I bought it at the time for like 180 Canadian. But like, is that gonna fucking change my life? No, don't get me wrong. Some auctions, you see some crazy shit. So that's what I'm saying. There's a different world out there. But in general, like, someone's like, yeah, I flipped this and got. I'm like, when I hear of what some people fucking put the effort into flipping, I'm like, to make $100, like, you went and chased something down and bought it and then sold it and you made $102. Like, your life did not change at all. And I said it's even worse. And I feel like there's a lot less of it. I will say this, like, there's a lot less of it that I'm seeing now than I did like a few years ago.
Oh yeah, it's way different.
But I do feel like most of the content I'm seeing, people are posting because they're drinking it. It's an open bottle. And that's nice, because at the same time, as a consumer, because as much as I do my own content, we're all consumers. We all want to hear, I want to hear what you're thinking and the next guy's thinking. But like, don't tell me something's good if you're sending me a picture of a fucking sealed bottle and I'm like, did you drink it? Like, what do you mean you're going to give me your thoughts on a bottle that like I see sealed? Like, maybe you had it at the bar or whatever the case may be, but I'm still judging you because, oh, so you had it at the bar, so now you can hold on to it and you've technically tried it and now it's like an investment bottle. But like I said, like my brother, I'll give you a good example. My brother early on, he's into whiskey, but not, because we were into it so early. He got a George T. Stagg, a hazmat George T. Stagg.
Oh, shit.
Like 2016.
Wow.
And he got it the year it came out in the lottery, in like our Ontario lottery. And then I think he got like a Pappy 12. And people were like seeking out this George T. Stagg. And they're like, oh, it's rare. It's the hazmat one. Like, we got to find it. I think he like sold the two for almost 3,000 Canadian.
Wow.
Okay? But like, cool. And maybe he like put it towards like a trip or something, right? Like, to each their own. But like, again, it's like, I always just look at it. That's why when I get something, I'm like, I don't even want to like give it thought. I almost want to crack it open on the spot just so I don't entertain like the thought of it, because I'm like, okay, like maybe you get a little bit of money, but even like $1,000, like the world's expensive. And maybe I'm like someone fiscally responsible be like, are you kidding me? Like, that's why you're not rich. It's because you don't look at it as like, but like, I don't know, as a someone who enjoys whiskey, it's like a total break. And that's why I come back to the beginning. Like, if you're just strictly an investor and you're like someone who buys gold or some shit, I hate you for like clearing good stuff off the shelf. But I get it. There's no attachment. It's very disconnected. But if you're a whiskey person or you're in the community and you're hanging on to bottles for investment, then no, just no.
I hear you. Well, since we went full circle, we're going to wrap it up because I want to be respectful of your time, man. So first of all, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man. I have been looking forward to this all week. Today was extra special today. I woke up with a little pep in my step.
Same.
And I was extremely excited to connect with you. And I hope I get to do this again with you sometime because this was a shit ton of fun, man. You're easy to talk to. You got great stories. You're a great guy. And I really appreciate all that you do. Keep doing what you're doing for the community too. I think the horror side of it, I think the Instagram side of it with everything. I think the podcast side of it too. You've been wicked collaborative with me and sharing back and forth ideas and how you do things and vice versa. And I appreciate that about you. So thank you for everything, man. And thank you for coming on to the podcast.
No, I mean, thank you, man. Jason, like, as much as like I do this, I'm trying to build like my own brand and do my own thing. It's always like very special when someone's like, I want to talk to you and ask you about what you do, because it's cool. I hustle to try to do interviews and whatnot. But when someone's like, I want to know about Whiskey Morgue, like again, with like the imposter syndrome, like, oh, if you want me to talk about what I do, I'm just like the catalyst. I'm just like the one who like mediates the conversations. But yeah, like I like for real, I woke up today like super energized, and like I think maybe my students saw there was a little bit more of like a pep in my step too, where I'm like, you know what, tonight I get to hang. This has been like a long time coming, and I get to have a drink and talk. So we definitely will do more of this. I'm 100% down.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. Thank you, bud. I appreciate it. Thanks for the comments too, man. I appreciate that.
No worries.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of the Dram Amateur Podcast. A huge thank you to Mike from Whiskey Morgue for joining the podcast, and to all of you for tuning in, sipping along, and being part of this amazing community. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment to like, share, and leave a review. It helps us grow and reach more spirit lovers like you. You can also follow me on Instagram at @dram_amateur for updates, behind-the-scene content, and more. Your support means the world to me, and I can't wait to keep sharing this journey with you. Until next time, remember, life's too short for bad pours, so make every damn dram count. Cheers. Thank you for tuning into the Dram Amateur Podcast. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of spirits. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. I certainly appreciate all the feedback and support. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes as we continue our exploration of bourbon, whiskey, rum, tequila, mezcal, and beyond. Cheers, and until next time, keep savoring every sip.